right, learning Axiom, episode 2. Here we go. So in the first episode, we checked out this sort of right menu. These are essential building tools. So if you want to know more about these and what they do, go check out that first episode. For this video though, we're going to be checking out some new stuff. There are so many things to check out and learn. Like, look, there's so many buttons and houses. I made some houses. Actually, I started with these ones. I started working on some little townhouses, got a bit carried away. And so these nice little cute townhouses have kind of expanded into these much larger structures. Hopefully, I'm not shooting myself in the foot by doing this. So far, I think it's okay. But we'll get to those and what they're for later on. Right now, I want to check out this menu and these side buttons specifically. I don't know if this is cool. Is there a name for it? So left alt is the context menu. I guess that's what it's called. This is the context menu. Interesting. Apparently, I have an update available, 2.8.1. There's some changes. Yeah, so one thing that's really cool about Axiom is it's still being updated. There's still stuff being added, features being included, which is really cool for us. It means that we are constantly getting new and cool stuff to play with. Anyway, let's talk about this context menu. So if you press your left alt button, actually, I can do this. I learned this the other night. Show key presses. Maybe this is helpful. You can see what I'm doing. Left alt, if I press that, it brings up this menu. So other than me having to update it, these first two, we're not talking about them, okay? We're not talking about those ones for now. Right below that, obviously, I can switch my game mode. That's really nice if you just want to go between spectator and, oh goodness. One thing that I didn't understand right away is there's no creative mode to switch into. And you just press left alt and it changes it. So if I click survival and I press left alt again, I'm back in creative. So I know, that's pretty cool. Right below that, we have all these different hotbars. If you want to, have, wool, concrete, different wood types. In fact, let me show you what that might look like. So for example, if I wanted to have oak wood on this row and then spruce wood on another one and then do that. And so I can switch between different hotbars and load in different things that I want. Maybe you have like a redstone hotbar or something like that. You can just switch between them. I find, this is me learning how to use this. I find that I never use this. Because I always do block picking. The right middle mouse button if you use that. And what happens is I'll just build up a collection of blocks in my inventory like that. And then, ideally I would switch then to another one and keep going. But then I just keep right clicking and right mouse buttoning to select block. And so I just end up sort of staying on one and constantly pick blocking. Call me lazy, but that's just how I do it. Old habits die hard, as they say. So that's how you switch to the different hotbars. It's cool. If you're into it, that's perfect for you. I know that it sort of helps with the inventory problem. And if you have banners and stuff like that, really cool feature. Over here, we have the fly speed. We've checked out that you can go really fast. Really fast. All right, I'm turning key presses off. There we go. All right, so what are these icons on the ground for? Why have I got a bunch of pixel art on the ground? What a weirdo, right? No. Maybe. Along here, we've got these different icons for different functions that do so many cool things. 9 cool things, apparently. The first one is no clip. And as you see, as I scroll over them, they say what they do below. So no clip is the first one, and it lets you move through blocks while flying. I'm in walk mode. Nothing is happening. If I jump, I'm now in fly mode. And if I just go down, I've gone through the floor. And that is crazy. Maybe this is really helpful if you're building a structure that doesn't have doors and you don't want to sort of break the blocks to go through. You can just clip through the walls like that, which is, really handy potentially. In the original World Edit, original is not the right term, but in World Edit, you can do, I think it's through, and that pushes you through like that. That's cool. But again, maybe you don't want to type stuff. You don't want to have to take your hand off the mouse. And so just by clicking on that, we can go between no clip and clipping, I guess. I've also never really thought about it like this, but you can actually get to awkward positions. Like for example, I can place the block there, but assuming that I couldn't, I can fly down underneath and place the block there and being clipped inside this. So that's pretty cool. Definitely a cool feature to check out. Next up, we have angel placement. This one is really cool. If you've ever wanted to build a floating island base, this was designed exactly for you. So let's click it. Let me get some blocks. As you can see, it's giving me the option to place the block in the air. How cool is that? That's awesome. That saves us having to do the whole thing where we pillar up, I'm sure we're all familiar with having to pillar up and you're like, okay, cool, I'm happy with that. I'm going to put my block there. And then you got to break all your blocks again. We've all done it. Pain. Next up, we have a really bad pixel art that I made of the fast place mode. What does it do? It lets you place blocks very fast in a controlled manner. So How cool is that? This next one looks like a pair of glasses, but it is in fact infinite reach. So when we turn that on, we can reach infinitely, placing and breaking. Not that button. There we go. So can I, oh, this poor cow. Okay, he survived another day, but you can see behind him, I'm breaking. Oh my, it's really shaky when you're zoomed in this far. But yeah, I can place blocks as far away as I want, really. And you can set a limit on how far you can reach, just in case you're worried about breaking stuff. So if I go onto this little toolbox down here, it gives me a bunch of menu things, and it has infinite reach limit here. So you can sort of define it to whatever limit you like. I can place before that, but after that, I can't reach. Does this look like a wrench to you? If you answered yes, thank you. You're very kind. I'm very bad at pixel art. This is supposed to stand for the Tinker. It lets you do various useful interactions when right-clicking with your fist. So if we right-click on a block, in fact, let me just place this down. This is a stair. Have you ever heard of the debug stick? If I go give Laura's Bones debug stick, you may have seen this. This is like a very classic World Edit tool. When I click on it, it tells me the different states the block can be in, and I can modify it. So currently, it's set to waterlog. If I right click on it, it's now waterlogged, and if I right click in, it's no longer waterlogged. Goodness, that's a mouthful. By turning on the Tinker function, it kind of removes this as a tool and just lets you do it with your fist. And so now I can sort of interact with the stair and turn it into different stuff. Depending on the corner you click, it changes which part of the block you're interacting with. And so you can go from a full block down to a slab, you know, and through all the different states of stairs. I don't think it lets you do the waterlog thing that I was doing with the debug stick. So maybe you still need to keep this one on hand. I know for sure that this doesn't look like a snowflake, which I assume this is supposed to be. This one is no updates. So we prevent triggering neighbor updates when placing or breaking. I don't know how to explain that, but I can show it. So let's check this out. So let's put down some dirt. There we go. Lovely. And put some grass on top. Now, everybody knows that if you break the block beneath grass, it's going to break the grass. But we've got this no updates on, so I should be able to break these blocks and the grass stays perfectly fine. So that might be something that you're really into if you want to, you know, create some details with blocks that shouldn't, you know, function or work in the way that you want them to. This will help prevent those updates and stop blocks breaking or changing the state. Also works with things like fences. So if I put down this fence, it'll connect to this block. And if I break the block, the fence is still shaped like this. We're nearing the end now. Well, we've gotten through quite a lot of stuff, but this cool pixel art here that I did is for the force place mode right here. So with that on, it lets me force place things that shouldn't work. So I can put down grass and stuff like that. Again, you shouldn't be able to do that, but you can using the force place little function here. Really cool. If you didn't know what this was trying to represent, it probably looks like nothing, just random shapes. But this is for the replace mode. If you right click on a block rather than placing, you're replacing the existing block. So it's already giving me sort of a preview of what it's going to be. If I choose oak planks, it's going to say, hey, look, when you right click, it's going to replace that white concrete with these oak planks like that. It's also like really fast. How nice is that? This is one of the best texturing tools that's sort of really available. There is a World Edit alternative called the like replace tool that I've been using for a long time. My friend Lego taught me how to use it, but this is like a really nice one-click sort of feature. So, you know, I'm placing blocks and then I go, actually, what if they were slabs? Boom. Very cool tool. All right, we made it to the end, and what is this jumble of blocks pixel art that I've done here? It looks terrible, but it is the bulldozer mode. So let's turn that on. It lets us break stuff crazy fast. Look how fast I'm destroying this. I worked so hard on it and now I'm destroying it really quickly. But that's all right because I can turn on fast place mode. Ooh, that's actually really satisfying. Nice. Perfectly timed. These are these things. These are really cool. Now, by themselves, they're really cool. But I think where they really shine is when you use them together. Let's check that out. Okay, so combo number one is pairing angel placement with fast place mode. And I think where this really shines the most is with building trees. So say you're building a tree, you're going to want to do some branches, right? So we get in there, we start placing these blocks. I'm just using wool as like a placeholder. You probably want to do some kind of curve shape or something like that. I don't know. That's how I do it. There's nothing wrong with it. I love it. But actually by adding these two together, you can place blocks in air. And because you're pivoting from one spot, you're creating an arc. It creates this natural organic curve. And I think this is really cool. This is like a really fun way to build branches for trees. And of course you can break them out and adjust it as you go. How cool is that? You still need to refine it and come back in and make sure it all looks good. But as you can see, with very little time, you can make something that looks half decent. Right, number 2. This one is great if you love tinkering and adding lots of little details. We turn on the tinker, we turn on no updates, and even force place, and check out some of the stuff that we can do. So, walls, we put them in there like that, and then we can get our freehand, and look at this. We can disable those blocks, fill these ones in, and all of a sudden we've got these crazy walls that just aren't possible any other way, and we can do the same thing on this one. All right, it's a bit fiddly, but that's kind of why people love it. And look at this, I can put down grass on stone blocks, add some vines there. Whoops, I broke it. Why did I break it? Okay, this is broken itself. And the reason why is the tick speed. So if I change my random tick speed to 0, now plants should not grow. I think that fixes it. There we go. Okay, make sure that you do that as well if you're using this combination here. In fact, I don't know if it's possible, but having like a button that is like turns tick speed on and off, or like having like a slider for it for tick speed, that'd be kind of interesting. I'd be interested to see that feature added. Okay, third and final combination here today from me. If you have any of your own combinations that you use and like, or just want to see a couple things tried together, let me know down in the comments. I'm keen to try them out. But this one is combining infinite reach with replace mode. I think this one has the potential to be really cool, but I haven't really spent much time using it. But look at this. So I can, from really far away, sort of start to texture and create. It's almost like painting from afar, or I don't know. As I said, I haven't really experimented with this much, and the hardest part about this is the accuracy of it all. But I don't know. I feel like it has potential if you're doing a big build. This could be like a really good way to texture, and you sort of get like the big picture, you know? You can sort of see the whole build from really far away, whereas normally we sort of build and texture from right up close. And something different to try? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you could see yourself ever using something like this. Okay, one last thing I want to mention before we move on, and that is inside the context menu, there's like a little toolbox inside here. I've shown it earlier in the video. There's a few different options. We looked at the key presses, what shows it down, your key presses down the bottom here. Right at the bottom though, it says flight momentum. So what does this do? If I'm correct, when you first load Axiom, it should be set to 0, I think. This may not be obvious, but when I fly, I stop immediately. If you play Bedrock, this might be something that you're familiar with. But for us Java players, this might be like really disorienting. I know it was for me. I was like, what is happening? All my momentum's gone. So you can dial that up from 0% to 100, which I think is maybe beyond what Java is. I don't know. I've been playing with this too long that I don't know anymore, but I kind of just do somewhere around the middle, because you kind of want to be able to fly in, right? Like if you're working, this is kind of weird to explain. Essentially, it just gives you more control over like when you start and you stop. I know it's a really nice little feature to have, but yeah, I like sort of somewhere down the bottom, sort of in the 50 to 30% area. That works for me. Now in episode 1, I talked about wanting to do like a big mountain here with like a city on top. That's still the plan, but it's going to require a little bit more power than the tools that we've been using so far, which brings us to the editor mode. This thing here, you can do so much with it. It's crazy. It's actually insane how powerful this is. But we probably won't get into it too much in this video. I'm thinking that I want to do kind of like a line of these things at a time and sort of get used to using them and experimenting with them. But essentially it breaks sort of the Minecraft mechanics and turns it into like a 3D software kind of interface, something similar to like Blender. When I first opened it, I thought this was the worst thing in the world. I'll be honest. Now I don't hate it, but it is definitely a sort of a game-breaking experience. I think being able to move around like this is pretty insane, and the amount of sort of things that you can do by placing blocks, it really sort of changes some of the core mechanics of how you play Minecraft, and that's not like necessarily a bad thing. It's just a different thing, and you know, it's a really cool evolution of the game and of how we play and build and be creative. Which ultimately I think is a great thing. But it does take some getting used to, especially for someone like me. I'm used to using like world edit brushes. We can just type in, you know, brush, make it a sphere or like a ball, and then put what's a block? So like 41, you know, and I can paint around like this. That's what I'm used to doing. It's sort of, to me, this is very Minecrafty because you're clicking, you're using tools, you're creating stuff in this sort of first person. Whereas this is just like a totally different experience, but I'm really keen to explore it and see what I can do, see what we can do together. If you are following along in this series with me, please just get stuck into it. Try all the different things. Just load up an instance of Axiom and just go through one of these tools at a time. Click around, see what it does. I'm pretty sure that when you load in, it gives you like some kind of base tutorial. Anyway, I'll see you in episode 3 where we get stuck into the editor mode.